Here we are. It is your crisis report for November 18th, 2024. And this one is entitled Net Cables Cut and ATACMS Blowback. Reason why is yesterday it came out that they'd given the green light to longer range missiles. Now, there's a lot of conjecture on this thing, a lot of here and there. We're going to cover a lot of it so you guys get a better idea. Some people thought, well, Joe didn't order this. We have a better idea on what's going on with all this. None of it's good, to be honest with you. So it just kind of depends on what Ukraine does, really, to be honest. If Ukraine goes in and starts chucking these things at population centers or anything, outside of the zone of conflict between eastern Ukraine, western Russia, wherever that gray area is, you can see a response, and they're saying that they're going to respond in a way that is going to surprise the HE double hockey sticks out of a lot of people. And they're alluding to the use of very destructive weapons, and you can use your imagination on that. And so we shall see. But a lot of people are basically accusing the administration of basically trying to sabotage the changeover, the peaceful changeover of power, and make it so this whole escalation happens, and through that ruin any chance of Trump going into a calm world, I guess. So we're gonna see. We're gonna cover it all. And then, of course, there's a major attack on Tel Aviv today. So that is raging in the background. So anybody thinking that the world is going to become a more peaceful place with, what's going on, it's not. It's going to get worse. So there's a real power vacuum out there, folks, for lack of a better way of putting it. There's a real power vacuum. There are people that are losing power. There are people that are gaining power. And that means things are volatile and dangerous. So we will all watch it unfold, and that's what we do here. That's why we cover all this on the Crisis Report. It is the most comprehensive news on YouTube. I basically tabulate for a couple hours a day all kinds of different open source intelligence reports. I put it together, and I tell you all about it here about 10:30, 10:45-ish at night Eastern time. So we're going to get to it. And we appreciate you being here. Hopefully you will hit that like button and do the subscribe thing and all that. Darken out the bell. PrepperNow. I'm on the fence of whether I will do a post over there. But we're glad to have you. It's been crazy. So, all right, folks, about 3.5 minutes in. We're going to get started here. And we're going to start off with a little, I don't know if it's humor or what, but Matt Taibbi is a very excellent writer from formerly Rolling Stone. Hold on real quick. Bush. And he said if Donald Trump creates this position, creates the position, he would volunteer to be the Secretary of Feeding People to Komodo Dragons. First round of tossings into the lizard pit will involve experts who still use grossly snobbish terms like fringe and contrarian to describe beliefs held by most of the population, basically making fun that the people out there that are supposedly smarter than all of us are actually in the minority and effectively douchebags. So I don't think there will be a secretary of feeding people to Komodo dragons, but it's a lovely thought. Mr. Taibbi, we praise your incredibly sharp intellect. I'm sure you'd choose some worthy people to be chucked into the Komodo dragon pit, but such dreams will probably reside there in dreams. And we started the day off with the Sea Lion 1 submarine cable running between Finland and Germany. It was broken. Communication connections were cut. Cause unknown. We're going to have more on that. Sweden warns citizens to prepare for the crisis of war 5 million households receive nuclear, cyber, and bio attack preparedness pamphlets. It's almost like being a prepper is a wise freaking idea. If governments are telling you that, you might want to listen up. So, I don't know, you're not in Sweden or Finland, but you're definitely in a country that would be considered a hostile. So having your preps and just general act together and such preparedness needs might be smart. Biden, it's no secret that I'm leaving office in January. Yeah, we think that's true unless, WW3 breaks out. Police in central Thailand said they are barricaded themselves into their own station over the weekend after a menacing mob of 200 escaped monkeys ran riot on the town. I've been to Thailand. I haven't seen 200 monkeys, but I've seen a few go after people eating. Pretty interesting. They are brazen, to say the least. Biden has cleared Ukraine for long-range missile strikes inside Russia. The whole world is excited about that one. United States, Philippines have signed a deal on sharing military information. Kremlin says Joe is fueling tensions by permitting missile strikes. Yep. France says that Ukraine using its missiles inside Russia is still an option because there's some back and forth on that saying they could, they couldn't, they could, they couldn't. Don't worry, it's an option because that's how they do this now. They basically put it out there. They see what the Ruskies are going to say, what kind of analogy or alliteration, allegory Mr. Medvedev will paint for us. But, yeah. Not really sure on whether it is or isn't, but I have a feeling Russia will act as if it is. Spirit Airlines has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy because the world is just so put together with its finances. Donald Trump Jr. accused Biden administration of trying to start World War III before his father can take office. Donald Trump confirms he is prepared to declare a national emergency and use military to deport illegal immigrants. Arizona has something to say about that. Hezbollah says 4 media officials were killed alongside a spokesman in Beirut. That was the Afif or Dafif. I didn't cover him, but people were talking about him. Another official. G tells UK Starmer the world is entering a new period of turbulence. I agree. Russia vetoes Sudan ceasefire resolution at the UN Security Council. Sweden, Finland urge residents to be ready for war. Timothy Michael Skoton, an election judge in Minnesota, has been arrested and now faces felony charges for allegedly allowing unregistered individuals to vote in the 2024 election, undermining the integrity of the process. I don't know what it is about these people where they don't get the understanding that you ruin it for everyone when you allow this kind of crap to happen. Pennsylvania Democrats, I'm looking at you as well. Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski met with Trump in his Zbigniew, Florida house to reopen communications and establish a fresh approach to reporting on his administration. I guess they're going to go kiss the ring. Leaders of BRICS surrounding a confused Joe Biden at the G20 wandered off into the jungle. Thankfully, they retreat him. Representative Thomas Massie blasts Joe for authorizing strikes inside Russia, calling it an impeachable and unconstitutional act, while labeling Biden an emasculated puppet of the deep state. Yeah, pretty spot on there. Iron Dome interceptor missile fell after failing to intercept a drone in the skies over Eilat, southern Israel, overnight. France says we have nothing left to lose. Farmers are uprising, started yesterday evening across the country. England is seeing it as well. Border at the French and Spanish border was set up. Signs from hundreds of municipalities are being thrown in front of the Haute-Saône prefecture. Excuse me. La Figaro has removed information about London and Paris's permission to hit Russia with European Storm Shadow missiles. They removed it, they put it back, they removed it, blah, blah, blah. Again, this is what they do. They just basically act, oh, no, we didn't say that. No, we only broadcast it all over the world and then took it back. What do you think Medvedev is going to do? Biden authorized strikes with long-range ATACMS missiles only on the Kursk region, where North Korean troops are stationed, according to Axios, because Lord knows the North Koreans don't have nuclear weapons. According to the source, U.S. notified Ukraine of the decision 3 days ago. The goal is to deter North Korea from sending more troops to Russia. American officials hope that if North Korean troops are attacked, Pyongyang may reconsider its decision to send troops to Russia, and the Russian counteroffensive in the Kursk region will fail, according to the publication. German Foreign Minister Baerbock welcomes U.S. decision on Ukrainian use of weapons against Russia. Oh, of course. This comes out after Biden allows Ukraine to attack military targets in Russia with American missiles. Foreign Minister Baerbock praised the decision. Kremlin is not yet familiar with the data on permission to strike deep into the Russian Federation, only from Western media. Kremlin spokesperson Peskov has said permission for Ukraine to strike deep into Russia with Western long-range weapons, if accepted and communicated to the Kiev regime, would mean a new round of tension, Putin's mouthpiece has stated. Indian Ministry of Defense announces successful test launch of long-range hypersonic missile, which is likely an attempt to counter China, which is focusing on developing hypersonic missiles. The rocket has a range of over 1,500 kilometers and been equipped with various types of warheads. Mediterranean Man, a channel on Telegram, was making fun of it with what looked to be flying pieces of dung with rocket fuel coming out the backside. It's pretty funny. Following the launch of at least 30 rockets from southern Lebanon towards the northwestern sector of Israel, some rockets caused impacts in the designated area. Israeli media claims that the rockets were intercepted and fell in open areas. Simulation of a Russian nuclear strike on Kiev has been released with a 100 megaton bomb. I think that's a little less than the Satan. Number of victims could reach about 2.5 million people. Putin recently said that the use of long-range missiles against Russia would be eventually responded with nukes. Nope, who do we got? All right, sorry. United States informed the German authorities of the decision to sanction strikes deep into the Russian Federation. German Cabinet of Ministers has reported. The Sea Lion 1 submarine cable between Finland and Germany has snapped. Communications have been cut. Causes unknown. We will figure that out. Let's see real quick. Oh, yeah. Yep. Okay. A few days ago, Maria Zakharova, spokesperson for Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, warned that if Ukraine is allowed to carry out these strikes on Russian soil, we will consider this as the effective entry of NATO countries into an armed conflict with Russia. Sweden began sending about 5 million pamphlets to its citizens on Monday, November 18th, encouraging them to prepare for the possibility of war. Neighboring Finland has also, meanwhile, launched a website with familiar preparedness advice. What do they know? Just wondering. Israel rules not out strikes, or they're not ruling out strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities in the near future, according to this guy's broken English. Prime Minister Netanyahu on the Iranian nuclear program said that our ability to act against this threat will be tested in the near future, together with the incoming administration in Washington. Turkey refused to allow the Israeli presidential Wing of Zion plane to pass through its airspace, which caused the cancellation of Herzog's tour in Azerbaijan. Hezbollah has released an infographic summarizing the operation since the start of the Uli al-Bas, or Battle of the Fierce War, September 17th to basically today. Number of military operations, 1349. Number of days in battle, 60. Number of average operations, Per day, 22 casualties, 100 plus dead, 1,000 plus wounded, enemy losses, 11 training camps, 17 military factories and companies, 30 artillery emplacements, positions, 53 leadership positions, 61 military vehicles, 2 settlement units, 4 fortifications and defensive positions, 4 weapons, caches, ammunition depots, 7 drones, 10 helipads, landing zones, 1 military checkpoint, 1 military facility, 2 technical facilities, 456 settlements as targets, and then it goes on from there, and a partridge in a pear tree. But that is a detailed list, and it's all on the crisis report, which, of course, is preppernow.substack.crisis report, or, preppernow.substack.com. So, yeah. Recent study shows that since Elon Musk endorsed Donald Trump's presidential campaign on July, X may have adjusted its algorithm to favor Musk's account and other conservative influencers' account. Really? No. Following the endorsement of Trump around the 13th of July, Musk's posts experienced a 138% increase in views, 238% increase in retweets compared to before. Other Republican-leaning accounts also saw similar, albeit smaller, boosts. Additionally, findings show that X's algorithm feeds users political content regardless of their preferences. Wow, kind of sucks when a major tech company goes out there and goes out of its way to push its own political narrative, doesn't it? Yeah. Gosh, I wonder what platforms do that, huh? I wonder which ones do that. Al-Qassam Brigade snipe an IDF soldier in the vicinity of the Al-Qajandar area, northwest of Gaza City. Germany has decided not to supply Ukraine with Taurus KEPD 350 cruise missiles, which have a range of approximately 500 kilometers. However, reports indicate that Germany will provide Ukraine with 4,000 suicide drones, reportedly named HX-2 Karma, produced by the German startup Helsing. Media is referring to these drones as Mini Taurus. U.S. envoy Amos Hochstein's visit to Lebanon has been postponed. Man arrested after deadly stabbing spree in Manhattan. Multiple British Airways flights have been grounded after a major IT glitch hit the company's software, causing chaos for thousands of passengers. Undersea telecommunications cable linking Finland and Germany has been cut for unknown reasons. I'm in a good mood. After reports of Finland and Germany, undersea cable cut between Lithuania and Sweden was damaged. Cable was cut on Sunday morning, so something's going on. Wow, I wonder what could it be. It's almost like, they say we can release the use of long range, and then all of a sudden cables start getting cut. I'm sure there's no coinky dink there. Top German court ruled Monday that Facebook users whose data was allegedly accessed and distributed online can claim compensation in a landmark decision potentially affecting thousands of other cases. U.S. stocks finished mixed Monday with traders bracing for NVIDIA earnings this week. Later, piling into Tesla on press reports that the president-elect Donald Trump could ease regulation on self-driving vehicles. Justice Department will push Google to sell off Chrome browser to break search monopoly. Oh my gosh, whatever will the Borg do? Trump nominates former Wisconsin Congressman Sean Duffy to serve as the Secretary of Transpo. Duffy will end DEI hiring for pilots and air traffic controllers, President-elect says, and we were able to fly freely again. Where's Joe? G20 leaders took a photo without him. U.S. news agency AP is looking to cut almost 1 in 10 jobs to slash costs, management said Monday, as wire battles clients' cancellation and economic challenges. Russia says U.S. decision to allow deep strikes on Russian territory is reckless and dangerous, and the U.S. would be directly involved in the conflict, and Russia will respond and will hit back. Germany has decided not to supply Ukraine with Taurus KEPD 350 cruise missiles, which have a range of approximately 500 kilometers. Thank God. Oh, wait, what's that? Reports indicate that Germany will provide Ukraine with 4,000 self-dispatching drones, reportedly named the HX-2 Karma, produced by the German startup Helsing, and the media is referring to those drones as mini Tauruses. So, yeah. Unlike the Chinese President Xi, there is no red carpet for Biden in Brazil. Biden arrived in Rio and attended the G20 without red carpet reception granted to Xi Jinping. Brazil, prioritizing top trading partner China, has extended state honors to Xi, but not Joe. They like Xi. They don't like Joe. Unlike the Chinese president, that's a doubler. Sorry. Donald Trump says he wants to immediately stop the war in Ukraine and make peace. Well, who doesn't, besides deep state jerk faces? X challenges Ireland's new online safety code in High Court, initiating legal proceedings against Ireland's new media commission. German army is preparing companies for potential war. Switzerland, 17-year-old asylum seeker from Afghanistan, decided he would put on the crown of the Black Madonna in front of praying Christians at an Einsiedeln Abbey church. The guy arrogantly gets up there and basically had a stick, and if I were close, I would have taken his legs out and let the Lord do the rest. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un described the Korean peninsula as the world's biggest hotspot and urged his country's military to improve capabilities for fighting an actual war, state media says. The guy in the crown with Black Madonna thing, he was literally like up on this shrine, like just kind of standing on top of it. A nice tug on the leg would have made his day get worse. Sources who spoke to Axios said that Joe's decision was communicated to Ukraine around 3 days ago. So Poplar had a report today in the morning saying basically that they didn't think Joe did it. Well, now that it's all come out, and I'm not saying he was wrong, just, information was forthcoming. Basically, 3 days ago they decided this, which makes sense because at least 2 days ago, it seems, from one of the reports I've seen, it seems the Russians knew about it. So that's why Sunday the cable was cut, I think. Personal opinion. So, if France and Britain are concerned about the security of Europe, they have a chance to reconsider their positions. There is no longer room for primitive political games. And that is Mr. Putin. Turkish President Erdogan will propose his plan to freeze the war in Ukraine on current front lines. Erdogan's proposition involves Ukraine delaying NATO talks for 10 years, along with a creation of a demilitarized zone in eastern Donbass. Oh, what's that? What's that? Oh, yeah, this was denied by the Turkish. This is, or the people involved. This is not true. So you can move on. French foreign minister says that allowing Ukraine to use French weapons on Russian territory is still an option being considered. So we don't know. Yeah, go ahead and do it. No, don't do it. We're not going to send the tourists. We're going to send the mini tourists. It's like, whatever. Michael Freund, or Friend, or whatever, used an advisor for Netanyahu government, has written an opinion piece for Jerusalem Post claiming southern Lebanon belongs to Israel. Here are some excerpts from the article. This ought to make the people there bad. Historically speaking, southern Lebanon is in fact northern Israel, having grown up with an international boundary between the Jewish state and our neighbors to the north. We take it for granted that this is how it was always been and should be. Current border between Israel, keep yawning, and Lebanon is a little more than a century old and is entirely artificial. Historically speaking, southern Lebanon is in fact northern Israel, and the roots of the Jewish people in the area run deep. Kind of sounds like he wants to take it back. Russia vetoes Security Council draft resolution on protection of civilians in Sudan that would have called on the warring parties to immediately cease hostilities and engage in dialogue in good faith. You want to talk about a nasty CW going on Sudan is going terrible right now. Senior Chinese advisor warns Trump's proposed 60% tariffs on Chinese goods could hurt U.S. growth more than China, given U.S. reliance on Chinese-made parts, including for defense. Beijing, while cautious for now, hints at tough responses if economic red lines are crossed. Trade tensions loom. 1 million rounds of ammunition transferred promised to Ukraine by the EU has finally been completed, albeit half a year late. I think it was eight months late, actually. Initial promise was the transfer of 1 million shells by the spring of 2024. Vice President of the European Commission, Joseph Borrell, said that the EU will have delivered 1.5 million shells to Ukraine by the end of the year. Israeli Air Force has struck the central Beirut district of Zukkak al-Blat without releasing a warning to the residents. Hezbollah has launched retaliatory missile strikes on northern Israel. 6 people were wounded after a rocket struck in Shafram, east of Haifa. Magen David Edom reported, or MDA. A woman is trapped in the scene in critical condition and unconscious. Italy banned Ukraine from using Italian weapons on the territory of Russia. Italian Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani confirmed this position during the EU summit in Brussels. He emphasized, "Our position remains unchanged. Weapons provided to Ukraine can only be used on its territory." If Ukraine strikes Russia with long-range Western rockets, this will radically change the essence of the conflict, according to the Russian foreign minister. Russia's response to the use of long-range rockets will be adequate and tangible, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said in a statement. U.S. administration authorizes use of missiles with a range of up to 300 kilometers to attack Russia. This was discussed in a meeting of the EU's foreign minister. Joseph Borrell confirmed. Israel, several people were injured in Tel Aviv as a result of a missile attack from southern Lebanon. Israeli ambulance, we are dealing with several injuries in the Ramat Gan, Tel Aviv area. Fires broke out in that area after the latest missile attack from Hezbollah. Mensch Osint in the missile strikes, on the missile strikes in the Tel Aviv area, said there were 6 explosions reported by dozens of Israeli channels, but only one video circulates, which seems to be the result of a failed interception. Most likely the missile hit the target. We'll see what shortly the Hezbollah statement is, and interceptor missiles fell in the streets. Latest in the SMO of Russia from the Eastern point of view. Attacks on Ukraine's critical infrastructure in recent days have resulted in regular power cuts in Ukraine. On the front in the southern part of Donetsk Oblast, the Russians continue to advance towards the bastion of Uspanivka. The Russians were able to capture the the southern part of Trudov and completely secure Dalnya. North of Kharkov, the Russians also made small territorial gains in Beretsky. There were further movements north of Horivka, where the Russians are now northeast of Petrivka. It is also very active, where the Russians are now northeast of Petrivka. It is also very active in Kazhiv Yar. The Ukrainians are launching further counterattacks, especially south of Kazhiv Yar near the mine in Kursk. The theory about the encirclement of the Ukrainians south of Kremzhano in the forest has been confirmed. Dozens of Ukrainian ground troops are said to have been encircled in the forest here. The Ukrainian liberation operations are said not to have gone well, and there are said to have been considerable losses. Some video footage confirms this. Now, I've seen videos saying that it was the Russians. I've seen videos saying it was the Ukrainians. So take it all with a grain of salt. CNN says the United States assumes that Kiev will use long-range ATACMS missiles primarily in the Kursk region. Primarily. Polish President Duda reminded that Ukraine will not be able to attack Moscow and St. Petersburg with American ATACMS missiles since their range does not exceed 300 kilometers. Alexander Dugin, Russian political science and theorist, says, apparently Trump's team understands perfectly well that Biden's authorization to strike Russia with long-range American missiles is a blow directed against it and a desperate attempt to disrupt the peaceful transfer of power due to the significantly created due to artificially created emergency circumstances. Now everything depends on our reactions. It is important to give a powerful, painful response and not to play along with the outgoing liberals who are seriously determined to start a nuclear conflict. Mr. Dugin, they are not liberals. They are progressive fascists. If you are of a liberal, classical liberal style, you don't censor. You don't try to stop people from having freedom of speech. And clearly these people do. By the way, I hear it's a censorship fest over on the new Wokelandia of Blue Sky, where everybody's over there bitching and moaning about Trump's victory. Mohammad Javad Larjani, a top foreign affairs advisor to Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei, said, if they think we can reach nuclear weapons capability within 48 hours, they are wrong. But in fact, we are capable of going nuclear within 24 hours. In light of the overwhelming amount of junk and fake news about the Third Temple, and this is Amir Sarfati, biblical scholar, that people have been sending me, here are my thoughts on the matter. Listen up to all the Christians. Donald Trump is the AC. All the people that think this is a person that supposedly knows. The third temple will not be built in Jerusalem until the Antichrist allows it as part of his 7-year peace deal with Israel, Daniel's 70th week. Born again, spirit-filled believers will not witness the rise of the Antichrist because they have the indwelling of the Holy Spirit known as the restrainer. Only after the restrainer is removed through the rapture will the Antichrist be revealed. Okay? Tough evening in Israel. A rocket hit the Arab town Shafaram, killed a woman, injured others. Tel Aviv area fire broke out as a result of the fall of the piece of interceptor following the interception of the rocket. Spokesman for the United States State Department, we will make it clear to the Turkish government that business as usual with Hamas is no longer possible. Hezbollah has officially admitted the use of the Iranian-made Fatah 110 short-range ballistic missile towards Tel Aviv. IDF says that after an inspection of the security forces at the scene of the fall in Ramat Gan, it appears that it was hit by parts of a missile as a result of the interception. Preliminary investigation by the Air Defense System reveals that the interceptor hit a surface-to-surface missile launched from Lebanon at a high altitude and broke it into several pieces. As a result of the interception, part of the missile hit the ground and caused damage and casualties. The incident is being investigated. So it seems like it's all wrapped up tightly into a nice little bow. Israel's Channel 14 reveals that Biden applied serious pressure on Netanyahu in an attempt to stop Israel from entering Rafah. Both Biden and Blinken told Netanyahu that an offensive into Rafah would be the end of U.S. weapons shipments to Israel. Netanyahu called the bluff and answered that he is willing to take the risk. I mean, come on, they're the 51st state. Ohio Senate passed Bill 104, which requires students to use the restroom that aligns with their biological gender. So, George Soros' son, Alexander Soros, warns that another Ronademic could occur if RFK Jr.'s agenda leads to a major overhaul of federal agencies. Elon Musk replied to him and called it a scam dizzle. Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs declares she will not allow the Trump administration to deport illegal immigrants in Arizona. I love how she governs from her basement. More than 10,000 farmers are set to protest in London tomorrow, opposing the government's proposal to impose inheritance taxes on farms. NBC News reports that Matt Gaetz, former GOP congressman and President-elect Trump's nominee for U.S. Attorney General, allegedly paid two women for sex at a small party in Orlando, Florida in 2017. Sure. I don't know. Maybe it's true. FEC filings reveal that the Kamala Harris campaign made large payments to interviewers prior to sit-downs. It's like they all pay for harlots. That's your crisis report. November 18th, 2024. Friends, you can find all this on Substack, preppernow.substack.com. You can find this on, YouTube, where you can join us as a member, like Stealth Mode. Thank you so much for being a member here. That $2 a month keeps the lights on. You can join us on Subscribestar and Locals. It wasn't too hot and heavy here, but it's a great community. I get to share really cool stuff there that I can't do it otherwise. The community on Locals and Subscribestar is really, I love them. I've been there for 4 years now, roughly. And, it stays about the same amount. It's about almost 100 people, a little less on each one. So about a collective couple hundred. These people are good. They support me in another way. And I really appreciate it. By the way, a guy by the name of Mark sent me a $50 tip today. Thank you so much for doing it. You guys are very gracious. As I said, I am the product. I have been approached by a pretty major channel to kind of promote their stuff. I do like this channel. I've followed this channel for a long time. And I'm considering it. Now, I've said I am the product, but what this would just be an advertisement like others. And I'd get a good referral and all that. And it is a company that I like and agree with on a lot of what their mentality is. It's a financial company. So I don't know. I've kind of kept myself away from such things, but it's a pretty good opportunity. So we're considering it. I've got some time to think about it, but I don't know. We'll see. So you see me start going for financial company and putting their stuff out there, and you'll know the company immediately. But we'll see. I don't know. I might not do it. All right, friends. Well, 156 here, 68 likes. Let's get on out there and hit that like button. Do the subscribe thing. Darken out the bell if you're new here. Love having you. Love all my people out there. Thank you, Sally Sock Puppet. I am trying. I just, I do spend a good amount of time at this, but I want to keep it pure. That's why I don't try to go hyperbolic. I want to keep it nice and even keeled. I want to keep it nice and, what got us to 10,000 and change, fighting upstream the whole way. I don't want to change the formula too much, but we'll see. All right, friends. God bless. Hit that like button. Do all that stuff. And we will see you on the next one. You might see PrepperNow pop on here in a few minutes.